USABL Nation. This is Mike Kolesar. I am your host for USABL's Clubhouse Report. Our special guest today is Varsity head coach for Spotswood High School, Glenn Fredricks. Glenn, we appreciate you jumping on with us today.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Pleasure to be here.
Of course. So your roots go deep with Spotswood. Can you tell us your road to becoming the head coach?
You know, after I was done playing there a long time ago, I just, you know, there's just something that, you know, I felt, you know, I just felt that I'd be back in some capacity at some point. So even when I was playing college baseball, I played for Coach Laporte at Middlesex County College. And, you know, in the, you know, off chance that we didn't have practice or our practices ended early and I had no class, I would come back and I would volunteer to help, you know, my mentor, Bill Vizicay, with the Spotswood kids. I was only, you know, 4 years out of high school, and having that opportunity, that's really what, you know, made me, you know, just know that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So when I declared my major and I knew I was going to be a teacher, I just felt that would be the perfect avenue to become a coach at some point in time. And whether it was going to be Spotswood or not, I always knew in the back of my mind I wanted it to be Spotswood. But, you know, sometimes it doesn't work out that way all the time. So I spent a couple of years at Spotswood as the volunteer assistant. And then I got a full-time teaching job, you know, somewhere else. So with that, I got the head coach. My first head coaching job was at Freehold Borough, but that was a maternity leave position at the school. And when the person that I was in for came back the following year, I moved on to New Brunswick. And then after a year with Coach Artizone in New Brunswick, I got the job at Spotswood. So, I mean, it all started at Spotswood, and there was a little assistance gig in there that I want to forget my Immaculata Spartan family too. I did 2001 and 2002 with the Spartans over there in Flemington. So, yeah, it's been a pretty cool 20 years, you know, so far, and looking forward to another 20. It's someplace I've always wanted to be, and you know, I just never really wanted to be anywhere else, to be honest with you.
It's like going back home. That's great.
Yep.
So you have to be excited going into, you know, every high school season. What were you looking forward to most for this 2020 season?
Just the thing that really hurts the most as a coach, like you're not able to be around your players anymore, you know. And I think that's what makes coaching so great, is to be, you know, around great young people. You hope you give them a couple of things to learn, you know, life lesson wise. You hope they learn a little something about the game of baseball from you. And, you know, just pretty much the teaching aspect of the game is what I miss doing the most. Like when you see something click in practice with a bunt coverage or somebody, you know, executes a delayed steal for the first time in a practice before you even play your first scrimmage, that's cool to me. You know, they're learning things that, you know, they have their foundations for baseball, but, you know, when you get to the next level, which is where we're at, you know, seeing my pitching coach, I have the greatest pitching coach, Mike Korneski, and it's to see him, you know, have a kid over the course of a year, a summer, another year, another summer, develop a really good changeup. You know, that to me, you're learning the game. That's preparing you to either be really successful at the high school level. If you don't play in college, you don't play in college, but you learn something. You got to take something away from you, from the teaching aspect that myself and the other coaches give to, you know, some of these players coming through. That's what I really miss. I miss the practices, you know, more than the games are the games. You know, you know, it's easy to get up for a game, but you know, on a Wednesday afternoon, I mean, every day is Wednesday afternoon now. I mean, you know that.
That's it.
Weeks now. You know, I'd much rather be around my kids, you know, teaching the game.
Well, now that you're not around them, are you doing anything to stay connected with them during this time, or reaching out to them and checking in with your players?
Yeah, we're doing as much as we can baseball wise. You know, I did a little bit of the historical rebuild of the Spotswood program going back to '78 when it started on Twitter. So those guys have a lot of information there just to show, you know, some of the traditions stuff, you know, from where, you know, the program came from to where it is now in time. That's where they are. So that was one cool aspect of, you know, finishing up the winter, going into the springboard, into the spring season. You know, but we have the virtual swamp set up. You know, our home field's called the Swamp here in Spotswood. It's a really love-hate relationship with the field. I mean, you love to play on it when you can play on it, but if it rains 3 days before you got a game, you can't get on it. You never rained out at the virtual swamp though. It's a Google Classroom setup, and we got both levels on there, and it's great to, you know, ping some questions off these guys and see what's on their mind too, because I'm sure they're getting really bored. And it's good to be in touch with everybody and, you know, hear everybody check in now and again.
You mentioned tradition, and I would think that your seniors going into this year want to put their stamp and leave their name and add to the tradition of Spotswood High School baseball. How are they feeling? How has this affected them, and in more ways even further for recruiting purposes for the next level for them?
Well, I mean, I think what you just said is one of the reasons why you have to play every pitch like it might be your last pitch. You know, that's what I try to instill in these guys, is to just play the game as hard as you can, have the most fun while you have a chance to play it, because you never know when, you know, they might not call play ball, and that's awful. My heart breaks for these kids. I mean, myself and my brother, you know, who you play with at Caldwell, you know, we talked about it the other day. Like, I mean, some of the best memories we have on a baseball field are our senior years. And yeah, stamp wise, you might not get a shot until you're a senior. And now your shot comes, and there might not be any games left. So that's why I try to tell these guys, no matter what happens, you know, whether it be injury, whether it be something where you got to stop playing to go to work, or whatever it might be, you might not get a chance to play again. That's why you have to take every opportunity that you have while you're in the program, while you're playing ball with your friends, to just play it, to play as hard as you can, to have as most fun as you can, because again, unforeseen circumstances might pop up and you might not get that chance, which is, you know, I feel terrible, because these seniors this year did put in a lot of work. Even the ones, you know, we have 2 committed to go to college right now. Roger D'Antoni's a left-handed pitcher going to Rutgers Newark, and our catcher Dominic Vincelli is going to join his brother Nick at Felicia next year. So, I mean, we have some seniors who have put in, and it's not just, you know, the 2 or 3 or 4 months before their senior year. You know, this is at Spotswood, it's a culmination from when you're done with 8th grade, whether you're from Milltown or Spotswood. We have 2 great little league programs that feed into our high school in both towns. And, you know, this is what they look forward to, you know, the natural progression from freshman to sophomore, junior, now senior year. I can, you know, I don't want to speak for them, but I do know that they you know, they feel that they're kind of been robbed here a little bit. I don't blame them for that.
Yeah, I'm going to do a couple rapid questions for your first answer that pops in your head. I want you to let us know. Favorite baseball movie?
Natural, and tied with Major League though.
Okay.
Natural came first.
How about your most memorable moment as a coach?
Memorable moment as the coach, when the whole entire town flooded the varsity field at Toms River South after we won the Group 2 championship. No, unquestionable. That was, I mean, the gates opened, the whole town came on to celebrate with our kids. It was the most, it almost doesn't even feel real. You know, it's been 13 seasons, but, you know, I have to look at pictures sometimes just to, you know, go back and kind of relive that. So, but that's what we're chasing every year though, you know, hoping to get back there someday. And, you know, I have full confidence that we will.
You just gave me the chills just describing that. How about your favorite quote, or something that's always stuck with you share with your players often?
That I share with the players often, I would say, you know, every time we break it down, it's, you know, Charger pride. It's you know, you're representing, you're wearing a uniform, you know, from someone that, you know, might have played here, you know, 30 years ago, is hanging out, you know, down the left field line and sees, you know, number 2 running around there playing third base or shortstop. And, you know, so when we break it down, you know, we always make sure that we say it. And, you know, and you got to mean it too. You can't just say it because I say it, you know, and I'm not asking you to say it. If you don't want to say it, don't say it, you know? So when you say it out loud, when we break it down and go take the field, you know, you got to have pride in whatever you do, whether it's raking your position after a practice, pulling a base, whether it's going to back up first base on a bunt, you know, whether it's warming up a relief pitcher in the bullpen, no matter what it is, you got to have pride in what you do. So that's, that's one thing. I don't know if it's a quote really, but it's just something that we live by.
That's great. It's all little things that matter. To take pride in.
100%.
Well, we're going to have a huge baseball community watching this interview. Can you leave us with a positive takeaway of this whole situation that's been going on?
I would say positive would be time spent with your family. I mean, I don't know, the ping pong wars that myself and my brother would have had if this would have happened when we were in high school and stuff. I don't know if my parents would have been able to get through that, but if you're in a crowded house, or if you're just in a house with your folks, take the time to really enjoy being around one another. I know that this quarantine thing, you start getting on each other's nerves after. Just take a deep breath and just realize that there's going to be a time where you're not going to be able to see each other all the time. You might go to school in Michigan for college. You might not be able to make it home to see people for 3 months. So if you're going to be stuck home, I would say think positively, enjoy the time with your parents, listen to what they're saying, listen to what they're telling you, and just enjoy one another's company. And, on a baseball note, I would say work on some of the stuff that you're not going to work on when you're in season, like the mentality part of the game. Sit down at the table and figure out your plan at the plate. Some people don't even think about that until they get to high school. They just go up there and they know that they can rip the first pitch that they see. But you're going to have a plan when you get to the next level. So figure out what your plan is going to be, mentality-wise. Get that stuff in order. Work on some dry drills, stuff on, that you can work on in the mirror. And, things that you normally wouldn't be working on if you had a 2.5 hour practice on a daily basis with games mixed in. 'Cause how that's the little stuff that you're going to start missing because you got to do homework after you're done with a game, that you might not have just won. You're not going to go do dry drills after that. But what are you doing right now? It's not going to be another game of MLB show, right? Go get some dry work done and, try to have fun doing it. That's the bottom line.
That's great. Well, listen, I can hear the passion in your voice when you talk about your program, and it's no wonder, you have a very successful one. So we appreciate your time. We wish you and your program nothing but the best, whether you get out there this season or next. And for those watching, we hope everybody's staying safe, staying home, and staying hopeful that we will be out there sooner than later. Thanks, Glenn.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.